Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Two Player Podcast with Matt Likes Games and Ham Solo. Enjoy the show.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast with myself, Matt Likes Games, and my buddy Ham Solo. First of all, before we get into any of the topics, we got to do the intros. So, Ham, how you doing? What's up? What you up to? You've been kind of busy on your channel, so let them know what's going on.
Yeah, I had a pretty cool. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share something real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I had a pretty cool little video that I did yesterday for my channel before I did bull sitting yesterday, and I was screwing around with the new Hellblade game because it's kind of it's the big deal of the new Xbox game that came out, and I got it to work over on Steam Deck, and it worked pretty well. So like if I like zoom in, like go to the actual battle scene, like there's me actually playing it like via SD card off of Windows, Game Pass. Thanks for Game Pass for allowing me to be able to do it,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Man.
like it doesn't look the best. I'll tell you that. Like
Sure,
right then and there. Like it does not look the best. But if you're just trying to like if you're traveling and you don't want to worry about internet, you don't want to worry about cloud gaming and stuff like that, like it works. As you can see right here, I'm fighting and I'm in a really smoky area. So it's like if it would be hard to play at any time, this would be the moment. You know what I mean? Like intensive scene, a lot of things moving around, fire bellowing, a lot of light from different directions, smoke to the point where I can barely see the enemy. And like if the game was gonna be hard to play, this would have been that time. Right. So I felt like this would have I felt like when I showed off this that this was like a perfect kind of like it doesn't look the best in the sense of like me showing off, but I'm just trying to like show people that like like even with the game not looking the best, I'm still able to function. I can still see my target. I'm still able to attack properly. There's not like a whole bunch of frame drops to where I don't know what's going on. It's anywhere between 22 to 30 FPS. Pretty standard on the Steam Deck. But like there will be times where the game will freeze. And you just have to wait for it to stop. And if you don't go into the settings and immediately turn everything to low, you might green screen as soon as you turn on the game. That happened to me the first time, and I had to completely restart my Steam Deck. So you got to make sure that you go into the options, turn everything to low, turn FSR 3 on. I highly recommend turning the sharpness the sharpness up to 100%, or else it's going to look really muddy when you get into the game. And as you can see, I mean, it looks and plays good enough to be playable on a Steam Deck, right? Which to me is amazing because I couldn't get like Dragon's Dogma to run on a Steam Deck. There's a lot of games that had a lot of issues on Steam Deck, and to me, I was just blown away because this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, right? Which is like notorious for being hard for CPUs and GPUs, right? So like for me to be able to turn this thing on the day that it came out, to me was was a pretty good feat, and I was proud of it, and it made me even more excited to play the game because now I have more of a range of how I can play and when I can play, and it's just another option.
For sure. For sure. It's impressive the fact that, the fact that it's even possible is pretty impressive
I mean,
in and
because
of itself.
I mean, that doesn't look bad, does it?
No, it looks good.
I mean, a little bit of hitching, right? But that's
Sure,
playable.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm done. I'm gonna remove that.
All right. So talking about Hellblade, that's kind of, I mean, I know I played a little bit of it. If I had to guess, I probably played a total of like an hour of it. I've been tackling that game kind of weird because I don't want to get that thing because I do know it is a shorter game. And I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like I'm done with it in like 3 days. I'm trying to play a little bit
Yeah, it's
here,
like
a
what
little
you did
bit
with
there.
Alan Wake, right?
Yeah, I'm playing. Well, exactly. I'm playing a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's how I'm playing the game. But that game, I mean, just to give early impressions, and then we'll talk about obviously the discourse surrounding it and all the different sides of that. But early impressions, I think for me personally, first of all, that's the best looking game I've ever seen. That is, there's not a question in my mind. That is the best looking game I've ever seen. Uh, I played it. I did a video on Series S for it, and even on Series S, like on Series, it's the best looking game I've ever seen on Series S. That's hands down, not even close. It's the best looking game I've ever seen on that console. I haven't played it. I've not played it on Series X. I played it Series S, and then I went to PC. And dude, on PC, that shit is just, it's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous.
Crazy. That's where I first played it, was on PC.
Yeah, it's insane. So like right off the bat, before you even get into any like movement of the character, any sort of gameplay, just the first thing you notice is this is the best, or at least I notice, is this is the best game I've ever seen.
Right.
Now into the gameplay, and I've seen people complain about the gameplay and everything. For me personally, just my own personal opinion here. I'm not going to say I was let down because it was a marked improvement on the first on the first combat, specifically the combat. It was a marked improvement on the first game's combat. I do like the 1v1 aspect of the combat in Hellblade 2, whereas in the first game, whenever you got into a fight, I especially remember one part where you got into a fight and enemies just kept coming at you, and you were fighting like you could be fighting like 3 at a time, 3, 4 at a time sometimes. I like in this game, it's just 1v1.
It was still kind of 1v1 though.
It was, but it like on your screen, you would see multiple. Right. It made it feel like
it didn't
wasn't
focus in on the enemy.
Yes, like that. Exactly. And I like the fact that they do focus in on you have one enemy in front of you right now. I like that. I think it works really well for the kind of combat that the game has. And like I said, it is a for me a marked improvement over the original game's combat. However, like the reason I say I'm a little bit disappointed is because it's not as big of an improvement as I was expecting. Just given the way that it was, the way they talked about it and how, like, we had all of our animators do like combat training and everything. And you can see it definitely they definitely improved it. It's just when I heard all that stuff, I was expecting a
You were
slightly bigger
expecting a new
improvement.
combat system.
Yes, kind of a new combat system, and they did a good job with what they did. It's just that it wasn't the overhaul I thought it would be.
You want me to
So
throw the gameplay up?
yeah, throw the gameplay up on that. But that's probably the only disappointing thing I have about this game, and it's not even that disappointing, really. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. Well, it's the last game, but bigger and better. That's what they focused in on, and they did a really good job in that respect. And then the audio in this game, I've not I've I booted up for like a second without headphones, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I put on headphones, and I was just like, dude, you, this game, like the first game's audio was really good. Obviously, this game just improves. Again, another thing that it improves on very well. Uh, and I don't know like how to quantify how far I am in the game. I don't know how far you are in the game. All I know is I just ran. I'll say this: I ran from there was something coming out of the ground, and I ran. That was the last thing I did in the game. And if you played the game, got to that point, you know what I'm talking about. But that's about how far I am in the game. Not too far. I've probably got a ways to go on the game. But Ham, and let me round it off with a kind of an early impressions grade, which doesn't mean anything because I haven't beat the game yet. But my
Right.
initial impressions of the game, if I had to give it a grade on a 10-point scale, I would have no issue going 8.5 right now. 8.5 to 9, somewhere in there. But Ham, what are your thoughts on Hellblade 2?
So right now I'm just a solid 8 on it.
Okay.
And I'll give my reasons kind of. So I think this game is I'll echo what you just got done saying. I think it's the best looking game that I've ever played in my life.
Yes.
Flat out. But it's not the most fun game I played even
Yes.
this year. Even this
Yes.
year. So I really enjoy like just the look of the game, being able to like the movement isn't bad either. I like that. The audio is amazing in the game,
Mhm.
right? It's like top 3, and I can't even think of all of the other ones, right? Like I don't even know what to compare it to, like audio being better than or less than, but I can tell you that this is like some of the best, if not the best audio that I've ever heard in a game. With that being said, the actual like getting into the game and playing, there are some moments where it's just like I wish something was happening, but nothing's really happening.
Mhm.
Or like I wish they would have like had like enemies come out in between the puzzles. Like that would have been cool instead of it being puzzle then enemies. Like I wish it would have been like a piece of puzzle then enemies. A piece of puzzle and then enemies. Right? Like just to
Yeah.
kind of make it feel like I'm like fighting through something instead of like it would have been cool if they had that piece of puzzle enemies, piece of puzzle enemies, piece of puzzle, and then boss of that area,
Mhm.
right?
See that.
Instead of the whole puzzle and then enemies dash mini boss kind of type of thing. And like I just feel like that could have helped the part of the puzzle be more exciting instead of seem so simple,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
almost feel like you're unlocking something throughout the moment. The puzzles are pretty super duper simple, and
Yes.
it's almost like simple to its own detriment.
I can see that. I can see that as a criticism for sure.
So where it's like you wanted me to find that so I could move on, and and like it almost feels like a little bit of a fast forward. Like they heard our complaints about the last puzzles and then made it like remedial,
Mhm.
where it's like, all right, I ain't that, I don't not understanding
That's
that
stupid.
bad. Like yeah, exactly. Like if it kind of felt like you're just calling some people stupid or a little bit or whatnot, but whatever. Um, continuing on, like I kind of wish there was a little bit more, and I'm not sure if you figure it out later in the game because, like I said, I'm kind of early.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you figure out why, like how you got from the age that you were all the way up. Now you're a slave.
No.
You know
Me
what I'm saying?
personally, no.
Because you go
Yeah.
from the end of the last game where it's like a very triumphant feeling, right?
Yes.
And then into the next game, and I'm not sure if they explain it later. But how did I end up in shackles on a ship? And maybe they described that somewhere, and I just it kind of went over my head. But I feel like they could have kind of narrowed that down, or maybe I'm just yet to understand that
From
part
what
of it.
I understand, from the little bit I've played, which isn't a huge amount, it's I think I think that Senwa was coming to this place to free. I could be incorrect about this. Either to free the people that were there, or to get revenge on the people who are taking people, on the slavers, pretty
That
much.
sounds probably right to kind of
Yes.
infiltrate.
Yes. And before we move on real quick, Jax82 with a 4.99 super chat, very much appreciate that. Says Hellblade 2 is a masterpiece. Played on PC first, had some stutters, frames going up and down, runs really well on the Series S, had some dips. The Series S, I can't speak for the Series X. I haven't played there. Series S is really impressive. Like it's very, very impressive. And also I remember, the whole 30 FPS thing being a really big deal for a lot of people. It's super not a big deal in this game. It is really not a big deal at all in this game. You like, especially with the way that it's presented with the black bars and everything, it's like you're playing slash watching a movie. So it feels fine at 30 FPS. It doesn't feel bad at all. It's not an issue. Um, Let me see this. PS5 Blow says, "What up? Doing some stuff and playing Hellblade. Listening to this for now. Appreciate you for stopping by, buddy. Very much appreciated. Uh,
There's a
but we
couple
should
other things
probably,
I wanted to throw out
yeah.
before we
Go
moved
ahead.
on, and what like one of my favorite things about this game was like no prompt kind of thing that
Mhm.
happens within it.
Yes.
So like there was a couple times throughout like my playthrough so far, and might I add, I played the first part 2.5 times. Played the very first
Mhm.
part 2.5 times. Reason being because I wanted to try it out on my PC, and that was unbelievable. And then I
Yeah.
played it on my Series X, and that was really good as well, just not a PC.
Sure.
And then I tried it on the Steam Deck, and you've seen how that went. That went pretty well, right? But I only did part of the first part, and that's why I said that's where the half comes in. Because then I was just like, screw it. I want to get to a fight scene to see if this thing actually like
Yeah.
can handle a fight. Because I was like, I mean, we're just climbing a mountain right now and walking. I mean, I wasn't too surprised that it could handle that, but I wanted to see a fight. How could it do in that? And it held up pretty well. So like that helped my score for the game because like for me it was like being able to play it however I want to, and that was just That little piece right there just made it unbelievable. But like as I was talking about the cues and not having them within the game, um, there was a time or two where a fight scene started and I got hit and I just thought it was part of the cutscene, and then I get hit again and I'm like, wait a second,
Yeah.
like, this don't seem right. And then I'm noticing, oh, I can move.
Yeah, there's a few parts. There's a part when I was like crawling under, like you crawl under a boat in like the first part of the game, and you're like pushing stuff out of your way, and I'm like, why is she just sitting still? I'm like, and I move forward. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to move right here.
Yeah,
I
right. You're
thought
supposed
this.
to push
I
those
thought I was
things out of
watching.
the way.
I thought I was watching a cutscene. All right, yeah, but
Yeah, same. So like those type of things make me just like think like, hey, this is because I don't have that problem with any other game. Every other game tells you,
Mhm.
yo, push A now or do this now or QTE now or something,
Mhm.
right? But this game is just like, are you playing? Are you there?
Yes.
We're just double checking and whatnot. And I just like, to me, that is like one of the best parts of the game. Like
Mhm.
I wish more games that were cinematic did that, took advantage of
Yeah.
that, and that for me is why I have my score where it is at like that 8 and whatnot, because it's just so out of the realm of a normal video game.
Mhm.
It kind of reminds me of a FMV game back on the like the
I've seen people say that. Yeah.
back on the like Sega CD, Sega Saturn, 3DO. It kind of reminds me of those games where you're kind of there for the story, but you get to interact with it. And I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of people are really privy of FMV games, because I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people that are scoring and talking about this, have no idea even what the heck that is, or hasn't really played one of those, or really don't understand like, hey, this was a big time genre for a little while, right? Where you were watching a movie and then you'd point and click essentially. This game right here decided to say, hey, you're not pointing and clicking shit, you're actually in it.
Yes.
And to me, like, I don't think a lot of people put those two things together, and that's why I give this score, this game, a high score, like I did as an 8, because it's just like, if you ever played an FMV game on the Saturn, on the Sega CD, on the 3DO, on the original, even like possibly even on like the original PlayStation, like there were so many times where you were playing an FMV game where you're just like, man, I wish I could do that. But instead you're pointing and clicking and telling them to do it for you. So like,
Yeah.
to me, this game is special for some of those reasons too. It brings nostalgia forward.
For sure, I can see that. Yeah, I've seen people say it gives off FMV game kind of vibes, and I, as someone who never experienced, like I know FMVs are, but I've never sat down and played one, so I can't speak on it. But I have seen people make that comparison, and like just from my experience of like, and Mike Johnson says in the chat, he says, "Matt, you thought it was a movie." Like there are parts where I literally thought I was in a cutscene. And then the game's just like, no, you're not in a cutscene. This is the game. You move, get moving, kind of thing.
Right. It's not like Kojima where you're just where the cutscene happens and you know it's okay to put the controller down. It's not one of those.
Yeah. Yes. So I like the way they blended that. Very, very good. But we should also talk about just the general discourse around this game. I mean, there's so many different ways to tackle it. There's so many different like options to choose from of like uh the whole way people rate this game, the conversation around it, as in talking about like specifically the gameplay aspect. And I told you before the show, and I'll say it again here on the channel when we get to it, but just my whole theory of why people are so um disappointed is the word I've seen used a lot with this game. And I want to toss it off to you and see if I can get your thoughts on it. But why do you think we'll tackle this first. Why do you think there's this broad spectrum of people who are quote disappointed by this? Like, what do you think their reasoning or the general reasoning for that could be?
Well, it's the same thing for Hi-Fi Rush when it came out. Like when it just like came onto the scene and just like exploded, right? It's the same thing for I'd say it's less for Hi-Fi Rush than it is for Redfall than it was for Starfield. And I'd even throw Halo in there, right? And the reason I'm even throwing Halo in there is because I feel like Xbox fans, like fans that are kind of weird, Xbox fans that are kind of weird, and then also PlayStation fanatics that pretend to care about Xbox or just haters on PlayStation, they're always kind of stuck in this loop of needing Xbox to be like, or needing that next Xbox game to somehow be like GTA or something.
Yeah.
Like the expectations of the next game to come out, or like now that it's not Hellblade, like the next game, like what, Indiana Jones or something like that, it's gonna be held to the to the identity of you need to save this platform. When in reality, like they already said there's gonna be a next generation and stuff like that. So there's nothing to save. It's already, it's already in motion. It's like you're trying to rush somebody to the hospital so they don't die, and they're like, "Yo, like, I'm fine," and they're like, "No, you got to go to the hospital. We need you in the ER. We need you, like, we need to get you in surgery." And the person's like, "Dude, I'm fine. Like, I'm not in first place. I'm not in second place either, but I'm fine." And everybody thinks like the very next game that comes out for Xbox needs to like push them into second place or push them into first place or something like that, instead of just appreciating the art that was given to you. So like Redfall. I mean, when Redfall came out, Xbox is dead.
Yeah.
When Hi-Fi Rush's sales numbers came out and Jeff Grubb talked about it, Xbox is dead. When Starfield came out and it got the reviews, and it got the pushback on the reviews, Xbox is dead. The layoffs, Xbox is dead. So it's just like somebody needs to get a new doctor, because this motherfucker doesn't know what dead really means. Because let me use even like let me get even broader. Ever since the original Xbox came out, I've been hearing Xbox is dead. Ever since 2002. I'll give y'all a solid year. Because it came out in 2001. Ever since 2002, when the original Xbox wasn't making the type of sales that the PlayStation 2 was making, Xbox was dead. Microsoft was lost. They didn't know what they were doing. That was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
And here we are today, still saying the same stuff. And it's just like, man, if that's your doctor, therapist, surgeon, you need to see a new firm, because they're not really steering you in a direction that makes any sense. And they have more L's on their record than they have W's. I mean, sure, you can point out when there's something wrong or whatnot, but yeah, I just think that everybody are just like expecting it. Kind of reminds me of a basketball team, right? Or maybe even the Cowboys, right?
Okay.
Where when a next season comes, and in this term, I'm using season as video game. When the next season comes, it's our year. It's our year. Super Bowl bound. Super Bowl bound. And then like the end of the season comes out, and then it's like, oh, it wasn't our year. And everybody's like fucking pissed. And it's like, wait a second. like whether there was improvement or not. It's like, oh, you made it further into the playoffs than last year. Or oh, you did better and showed more consistency, but kind of dropped the ball or threw a pick right at the wrong time and it ended your season. Let's ignore all of the positive things that happened throughout the season and just focus on that you didn't get the Super Bowl. You didn't win it all. You didn't take Sony away, or you didn't take Nintendo out of first place. It's like, come on now. Like, this is the last game was like 7-8 hours. This game is around the same amount of time. I don't know why people after knowing this information, a lot of us knew this before the game even came out. Why are we surprised now? We knew this months ago that the game was going to be short.
Yeah, that's something that's confused me because, like, the last week leading up to this game's release, I saw people like online like joking. There's people obviously making jokes and shit, which is whatever. It's Twitter, people do that. But like there's also people like concern trolling. Like I can't believe why isn't it weird that Xbox is making a game that's only like, I don't know, 7 hours long or whatever? Like don't you guys find that concerning? It's like, dude, we knew this was they told us. They told us this already. It was gonna be that. Like I don't know why you weren't talking about this for since when was the direct? In January? Since January. I don't know why you weren't talking about this since January and why you waited a week before it came out to really dive into this being a huge issue for you. I like why not, like you knew it was going to happen. Why are you so concerned now? And so yeah, continue. I apologize.
Oh, I mean that's all I was really saying is like it's a little wild with that, but I guess it's also kind of wild that like not just the people being frustrated with the time of the game, but also I mean I'm just watching this gameplay. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
but it's also just like we knew the game was going to be this long, so it's not that's too much of a surprise. What throws me off, I guess, is that people are saying like it's like a downgrade or backwards or like somehow worse than the prior. And if somebody was saying story-wise this isn't as gripping as the original one, I could say, okay, I could see what you're saying with that. That's fair. Right? I mean, there's been plenty of, movies that came out where the second movie wasn't as gripping as the first one, but the first one, but the second one still told a good story, just wasn't as gripping.
Yeah.
Right? But when people tell me, hell, man, like the combat's worse, or the sludge of walking around is so much worse than the last one, I'm just like, what did you play? In the first, like, did you really play the I mean, that's my main kind of question with a lot of this is just like, and I understand there's like some big names out there and that did play the first one or said that they played the first one or whatnot, and it's just like I need an example from some of these people how this is just so much like it's one thing to say, hey, this is samey. And it feels too samey. But regress means it did worse than the prior. It didn't mean it just did the same. It did worse. So like people are saying like the fighting is worse. And I'm like, how? I have more options than I had before in the fight. And they're like, well, you could have fought multiple people at a time in the last one. It's like, not really. Like,
Yeah,
more
not
people were
really.
on the screen at once, but you might have got lucky and hit 2 people at one time with one swing, but it wasn't like purposeful like that. It was just like they were too close together. You're pushed
Yeah.
together like sardines, and you happen to hit two at once. It wasn't that you were just like throwing ninja stars and stabbing one, and like you weren't
Yeah.
doing all that. And then to be like, oh man, it felt like too much a movie and cinematic, and it's like, again, did you play the first one?
Yeah, that's a weird complaint.
Like, yeah, I just don't understand some of the complaints within the game and making it like way worse. Like, because last time, like a lot of the reviews that I read last time, they were like championing the game because it dealt with mental health.
Mhm.
This time, when I see reviews, there is no talk of mental health at all.
Yeah.
There is no championing any of that. There is
I s-
only the talk about gameplay, the graphics, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No
And
one's saying,
that's
"Oh man, we're
weird.
proud of this team for doing this or that." Like, they're done with that.
Yeah, and
So, so, so
speaking of
so to
that,
me, it's like I almost it almost feels like everybody kind of lied about the first one being a high score game for the reason that, oh, they're dealing with mental health. I feel bad, so I'm gonna rate it high. And then
yeah,
this time it's the same exact thing, except a generation forward. And it's like, all right, well, we don't feel bad anymore. Here's our
yeah.
real rating.
Yeah, like I don't see a whole lot of people talking about. I saw one person mention the whole mental health thing, and it was like they felt that the story didn't handle mental health well, like the first game did. And I mean, I can't speak on the whole story, but playing what I played, it's very much in line with the first story. It's very much in line as far as the mental health aspect. It's very much in line with it. So I don't know why you would have that opinion, but hey, your opinion's your opinion, whatever, do your thing, but is what it is. But I wanted to throw this out there, and I quote tweeted this like the day before Hellblade 2 released. Too big with a 9.99 super chat. Appreciate you for stopping by. Good morning. Good morning to you too, Big, even though it's almost 5 p.m. over here, buddy. But
In the
yes,
real
good.
time zone, yeah.
But good morning to you, bud.
Yeah, good
Uh,
morning in Narnia.
exactly. You have a fun day of surfing over there, buddy. Why don't you go hit the waves?
Yeah, get that
Uh,
body board out.
but I quote tweeted a tweet from, and I don't know who this guy is, so I'm not going to call him out because I've never seen this account at all. But you remember right before Hellblade released, the studio released their statement. It was like everybody freaked out because it was like the black background with the text and everything, and it was like, oh my god, they're like everyone freaks out whenever they see that now. So whenever they tweeted that, basically it was Ninja Theory just saying, "Hey, we really appreciate your support. We love you guys, and we hope you enjoy the game." That was basically their statement in that thing. And the way, not this one specific guy, but the way that people reacted to that statement, like there was a lot of, and this guy that I'm talking about, he says, he quote tweets it and he says, "This is an obituary."
That's
Like
fucked up.
he quote tweets that and says, like, "Yo, this reads like it's actually an obituary of this studio." And I quote tweeted that, and I said, "The way that Ninja Theory is literally just thanking fans and showing gratitude, and it's been warped into that specific tweet by a lot of different people, not just this guy, by a lot of different people, almost makes me think that there's a decent portion of people out there who want to see another studio get killed just to prove a point. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like. That's kind of what it feels like whenever I see like that general sentiment. Whenever a studio says, "Hey, thank you for supporting us," like, are you happy that the game's successful? Do you hope it's successful, or do you really just want them to be killed so that you can go, "Ha, Microsoft bad"?
I know. I
'Cause
almost put on Twitter, but then I kind of like was just like, I just don't want to even deal with it. But I was gonna put it on Twitter that like it seems like everyone's waiting for Microsoft to close this studio so they can actually give it a proper rating.
yeah, so they can
Kind
come
of
back
like
and
what
be like,
happened with Hi-Fi Rush on Steam. It's like, oh, why are you guys throwing stim packs in a dead body?
yeah. So they can come back after the studio's dead and be like, I can't believe they closed this studio. This is one of the best games ever made. Shut the fuck up. Enjoy it now or shut up. That's what
Right.
you should do. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't need to like it. But don't do this whole like getting on your soapbox shit. And then if they close the studio down, when they close the studio down, whatever the fuck you want to say, you come back to it and you're like, actually, that game was really amazing and they should have never closed that studio down. Shut up. Shut up. That's really how I feel about that, quite frankly. But
Dude,
Mike
I'm watching
Johnson,
this fight, and it like I don't know how
yeah,
anybody thinks that the first Hellblade is better fighting scene than this. Like I don't see it. Like I'm sitting
yeah,
there looking, and the dude's talking shit to me while I'm fighting him, and he's just like, ah, that was
yeah.
trash. Like I could kill you right now if I wanted to. And I'm just like, yo, like it makes you want to kill him even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Makes it a lot more intense. That specific fight was so far, that's the
it
coolest
reminded
fight
me
I've
of
done.
Thor versus Kratos.
Yeah, kinda. He's taunting you the whole fucking time. He's really taunting you. And he's kind of, and like, you feel like the way that fight progresses, that one specifically, you feel like you're kicking his ass, but then he taunts you, and you're like, wait, is he kicking my ass? Wait, I'm so confused. Is he beating my ass right now?
Well, it's because
Like,
every time you seem to get him, he just like does what he just did right there. Just like your move
yeah,
was garbage, elbow to the face. And I'm
yeah.
fucking fighting for my life to hit him with a stab, and he elbows me, and I just can't handle it.
No, it's
like
a nasty elbow.
and if you didn't realize how pissed, how bad she wanted to beat him, look at her. She grabs the blade like, no, god damn it, no,
Takes out his
you will
knee.
not beat me.
Man, that fight was real. That fight was really awesome. Probably so far one of my favorite parts of the game was that fight. Uh, but Mike Johnson in the chat says this podcast kind of reminds me of the Xbox too. I'd say big. That's a big compliment for me
That is a compliment. Jeez
because
Louise, that's awesome.
that's like, I mean, outside of bullshitting, and I'm very open about this, and especially now that I'm on their show, bullshitting's my favorite show, and it was my favorite show before I was on it. But before bullshitting came along, my favorite show was the Xbox Two. Now my second favorite show, but that is a big compliment, and I do appreciate that, Mike Johnson. So shout out to you.
Yeah, that was an
But
amazing comment.
it
That's the nicest
was.
thing I've seen Mike Johnson. I take that back. I've seen Mike Johnson say some pretty nice stuff before.
Yeah, Mike Johnson's he's good. He seems like a good guy. Seems like a good guy. But getting back to the whole Hellblade thing, and just I want to give my theory on why I think people are disappointed with this game. I told you this before I even went live. We were just hanging out and playing XDefiant. I feel like when Microsoft showed this game off next to the Series X reveal trailer, I think people started to hype it up in their head. A lot of people of which who didn't even play the first game. Like they might not even play the first game. And then they start to hype it up in their head. And then they're like, wow, this looks amazing. This is what next gen's gonna be. All this is gonna be fucking incredible, right? And then like a few years go by, and then it starts to fester a little bit, and it's like, wow, Xbox finally has an answer to, like, insert game here, God of War. We'll go with that because that's the big Sony thing. And it's like, I started seeing people talk like that, and I'm like, dude, y'all are gonna be really disappointed.
Right.
Y'all are gonna be real disappointed because this is not God of War. Like, this is not that kind of game.
And it's not
Like,
supposed to be.
it's not at all. And it's like the only similarities those have is that there's a bladed weapon and it's third person. That's about it. That's the similarities. That's where they begin and end. So, like, when I started seeing people talk like that, I'm like, yo, you guys are going to be so disappointed. And lo and behold, here we are, 4 years after the reveal trailer for this game, and people are saying I'm disappointed. I can't believe they didn't improve the combat. They did improve the combat. They just didn't make it the thing that you wanted, which is fine. You have things that you like and whatever, but it's like, I feel like a lot of people went into this game with unrealistic expectations, maybe not even fully understanding what the first game was, and just coming and thinking it's something totally different. And then when they play it, they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?" And I think Snowbike Mike said it really, really well. I mean, he said a lot of things really, really well,
Dude,
quite frankly.
he murdered Greg Miller.
He had a,
Murdered Greg Miller because Greg was like kind of giving it like the I want to give it the smoke, but I'm gonna give it the appropriate kind of talk to still seem good on a podcast. And so he is kind of just like what I would call like underhanded smacks or something like that. Just like in one, in one vein, saying something nice about Xbox, but then reminding and it's not as good. Kind of that kind of like back and forth. And Snowbike Mike just had enough.
He did. He did. And Snowbike Mike had like I saw the clip of like 2 minutes that he was just he kind of went off. And I know it must have been longer because it cut out right in the middle of him saying something. So like,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna go back
Snowbike
and
Mike,
record that.
yeah, what I did see Snowbike Mike say was like, yo, and they brought in an artsy studio to make an artsy game, and they did it, and they did it very well. I don't know what I don't know what your guys' expectation was for this, but it's not fair to them. It was pretty much his point. Like, dude, it's not fair to them for you to be expecting something that they don't do. They were brought in here to make this game. They made it. It's good. It's a marked improvement on what they did the first time. Like, I don't know what you guys wanted. And that's kind of how I feel. I'm sitting back on the internet, on Twitter, on YouTube. Dude, I load up YouTube, and a lot of people I follow, like, people have opinions. It's whatever. You're allowed to have your opinion. If you think it's
Mr.
disappointing, you think
Matty
it's
Play
disappointing.
was fucking hot about
Yeah.
it.
That's one of the videos I saw. Like, when I load up my YouTube, because I subscribe to Mr. Matty Plays, I watch him all the time, and it's like I see like, oh, Mr. Matty Plays says it's disappointing. I saw Griffin Gaming. I follow Griffin Gaming. I just loaded up my YouTube like a second ago, and I saw like he has a new video out. Hellblade 2 is modern slop, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what are y'all? What you guys are really disappointed. I don't like. I don't know. I don't know what you guys expected. Like, this is the game they told you they were going to give you, and it is very much in line with the first game, but it improves on it. So, I mean, like, it's not Devil May Cry. They're not making Devil May Cry again. So I don't know what you thought this was going to be.
Here's my beef with like the community, and it happens a lot. And it's not just with Microsoft, but it happens with all sorts of different games. It happened even with like Elden Ring, right?
Hmm.
And I know Elden Ring is like critically acclaimed game of the year, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But my point behind all of this is like the same people, and I hear this all the time, the same people that say, I want to see the devs do what the devs want to do. they're all for standing up for the devs, support the devs, support the devs, support the fucking devs. But then when the devs do what the devs want to do, it's like, why didn't you do what I wanted?
Mhm.
And it's like, wait a second, you can't have your cake and eat it too in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, I want the devs to do what creatively makes sense to them because they're known to make a great game." And then sit back at the same time and say, "Well, I think Microsoft gave them too much freedom." And then and then just a month prior saying Xbox was on top of them too much. They were on top of this game studio too much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's no way to win because as soon as Xbox is on top of them too much, and then a studio comes out and gives you exactly what they had planned on giving you, well, then Xbox wasn't on them enough to tell them, hey, why didn't you include this into the game too? It's like, wait a second.
Mhm.
You want a game to stand alone and be its own type of game and be nothing like any other game? That's what Hellblade just did.
Yeah.
Hellblade
They
just
did
gave
it
you a
very
game
well.
that's literally not like any other game.
Nikita Percy
It's
asks, "Did you see the
Go ahead.
kind of funny? Did you see the kind of funny podcast review of Hellblade 2?" Yeah,
Yeah,
we were just
Peter
talking. We were just
Percy
talking about it.
came in here literally seconds after we got
Yeah,
done talking
we
about
were we were we were just talking about it, and the fact that Snowbike Mike kind of he did his thing. He kind of went off on Greg and kind of everybody, just the general sentiment online. But continue.
Well, to me, it doesn't make any sense to me in this community where it's just like, we want them to have freedom. We want the devs to feel good and proud about what they did. And then at the same time say, why didn't the company that's publishing it step in and say, weren't a lot of these people the same motherfuckers that say, hey, why did Forspoken turn out like this? Why did Square Enix stick their nose in where it didn't belong?
Mhm.
And then Ninja Theory does what they want to do, and it's like, yo, Xbox, why didn't you stick your nose in where it belonged?
Yeah,
And it's like, you literally cannot, you can't make any of this make sense. For me personally, this whole like frustration behind this game, like, I understand if, like I said, the story isn't the best for you. I understand if this isn't your type of game, but if you gave the prior game high ratings and used all of these like excuses for mental health and stuff like that, it seems that now that this game came back out and it's out for another platform and it's only out on that platform in PC, it seems to be like, all right, now I'm gonna give it the real review that I think of this game. I'm gonna tell people how I really feel. Oh, like, it regressed. No, it didn't regress. It's the same thing with a little bit more.
Mhm.
None of it regressed, which is just wild to me. That said, like, the battle, the combat system has got wider. There's more things to do. Like, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Was there that, because if it was available in the last game, I didn't use it the whole playthrough. Was there a time where I could just like go into pretty much like a they can't attack me, kill everything mode?
a focus mode. Yeah, you got it, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't as like you get it on this game. Like on the last game, it didn't feel like you got it often. On this game, they're very clear about telling you, "Hey, you have this," and it
Yeah.
happens often.
Yeah, I didn't, because I played that game and I played Hellblade 1, beat it on my Series X, and then played it again on my Oculus Quest 2 because they have Hellblade in VR.
Ooh, what is that like?
It's weird. Like I had a good time, but it was weird.
Yeah.
But I like I look at that game, I play it, and like they say it's a slog. Like this one's a slog, but like the first like hour of Hellblade 1, you don't fight.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? You start off in a boat. You're not climbing, you're not holding up to do anything. You're in a boat. Just
Yep.
sitting there. And the credits are going by, sinuous, she's with the paddle. You arrive like at the like beach or whatever the fuck you want to call that muddy ass looking area. There's like the little thing that you focus on that gives you a little story. And then you walk for another 20-25 minutes, do a puzzle. You walk for another like 15 minutes and then get to a door where your first fight engages then.
Yeah.
And then after that fight, you walk again.
Yep.
So like to me, to hear that this game is a slogging compared to the last one, I'm just like, what did you guys play? Because you're walking a ton in the first one.
Yeah.
You fight earlier in the second one than you do in the first one.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to say anymore.
It doesn't make sense. Some of the criticism, like there's valid criticism for everything, but some of this criticism doesn't track. Doesn't track in my opinion. But speaking of, I guess we should be moving on eventually here. But I did want to bring up that I saw Jez replying to basically another one of those tweets where it was like, wow, this reads like the studio's dead kind of thing. And Jez was like, well, I know they're not dead because their next game was greenlit.
Yeah.
And apparently
Project Mara, right?
Well, no, Project Mara's been going. That's been a thing.
Oh, you're talking about the game after Project
They
Mara.
they have another game that is greenlit.
Oh,
and
wow. Well, look at that.
Apparently, I'm trying to find it. I'm frantically trying to find it right now because apparently I didn't bookmark it. But I remember reading that apparently it's something we haven't seen before. So, which would mean it's not Hellblade 3, and it's not Project Mara. It's something new, is what it sounds like. So,
well, Matt, you know that I've been saying this for a hot minute. I've been saying this at least repeatedly since Tango and Arcane fell, or Arcane Austin, to be specific. Xbox wanted. They went out and said, Ninja Theory, come here. You're mine. They did not happen to get Ninja Theory through another purchase. And I don't know why that doesn't like resonate with people. But like one bad thing happens with Microsoft, all things must be bad now, right?
Yeah.
So remember, Redfall came out. Well, Starfield's gonna be a shit show. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like as soon as one like if there's one negative thing about Xbox, well, Xbox closed down a studio. That's not good. Well, they're probably gonna close all their studios now.
Yeah.
And it's always from 0 to 1,000. It's never there's never an ounce of critical thinking in there. Like, hey, did they buy Tango? Like sure did they say some silly shit? Absolutely. I ain't gonna sit there in front like they didn't say that they cared more than they really did about the studio. But one thing I'm going to acknowledge is that they didn't go out and say, Tango, I need you. They said, Bethesda, I need you.
Yeah.
They said they said Ninja Theory, I need you. They said Obsidian, I need you. They you know what I'm saying? They said these specific things they need. They acquired Tango. What is it called?
Arcane Austin.
Arcane Austin. They acquired id Software and all these other things.
Yeah.
So it's just like critical thinking's outside the window. Nobody wants to use that. They just want to use whatever negative spin that they can. I mean, look, a game literally thanked the folks, and it's a negative spin.
Oh yeah, a lot of people love spinning
That's
that.
wild. You come out and say, I thank everybody. They didn't say, oh, Insomniac, you just released a thank you note. Must mean you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. Must mean something's wrong. Something's obviously wrong. Why would they be thanking us? Why would they be thanking us when they're about to put out their new game? Something's wrong. I don't like that. It's silly. And Vort says he's gonna microwave some Pop-Tarts. Well, you do you, Vort. You do you. And you have fun. Enjoy those Pop-Tarts. But yeah, it does sound like Ninja Theory. We will be getting a new game from them, along with Project Mar, whenever that comes out.
Nikita
And,
Percy said something I was going to add to today's show.
Yes, let's talk about this. Let's throw this up on the screen real quick. Nikita Percy says, "Have you heard Microsoft could acquire Valve? Thoughts on this?" I'm gonna go real quick on this. I don't think that's true. I'm gonna say right now, I don't think that's true. And I think the rumored deal was like for 16 billion. If Microsoft was acquiring Valve, it would not be for 16 billion. It would be for quite a bit more than that. Listen, if Microsoft at some point acquires Valve, then hey, it happens. But I just don't think that's something that's in the cards right now, quite frankly. But what do you think about that, Ham?
I'm on the opposite end of you with that one. It's
Go
not.
for it.
It's not that I think they're gonna do it like right away
Sure.
or anything, but I do think that that's in the cards a possibility. Do I think it's 16 billion? I'm not a numbers guy, so I don't fucking know, nor do I care because it's not my money. I'm just like more or less wondering if they're gonna actually acquire them or not. And I wouldn't be surprised, and here's why. Operation Squeeze Sony.
Sure.
I could totally see them doing that for that specific reason. Operation Squeeze Sony, get as much as we can possibly get out of them, and they don't even want to give it to us, but they got it.
Yeah.
And if they were to take Valve, that means they take Steam.
It does. And that's why I think...
And I wouldn't be surprised about that. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I think it's probably just common sense that Microsoft wants to acquire Valve. I know. In fact, I believe in documents they've taught that week throughout the whole FTC thing with ABK. I believe there was like documents that stated Microsoft is interested in acquiring Valve. I think there's no doubt about that. So I think it's definitely anything's possible. But I think for that reason, the whole squeeze on PlayStation, I think for that reason, it makes a whole lot of sense for Microsoft, obviously, to acquire them, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it makes a lot of sense for them to partner with Valve in that sense, especially because
they're already partnering with Valve, aren't they?
In what capacity? I'm sorry.
Like pretty much with putting games on their platform and also.
Oh yeah, sure. But like in that regard, then like everybody's a partner. But I mean more in like a sense of like how we talked on bullshitting with Mental and everything about how or the whole rumor about Steam maybe coming to Xbox kind of thing.
Okay.
Like that's kind of what I mean. Like also maybe find a way to make it lucrative for both parties to get Game Pass onto Steam, because everybody's big deal on PC, like a lot of PC gamers, is like, I'm not using anything but Steam. And if you tell them to use something, but if, like, for example, Alan Wake 2, fucking phenomenal game, my game of the year last year, that nobody played that because it was an Epic Game Store exclusive and it wasn't on Steam. So like eh, that's kind of the way the PC community is. I could see them partnering, like get Game Pass on Steam, get Steam on Xbox for your next iteration or whatever. Like I could see that. I think Microsoft definitely wants to acquire them. I just don't think it makes much sense for Valve right now to be acquired, unless Microsoft comes in and says, "Hey, fucking $100 billion, here you go," and then
Well, who
Valve's like,
knows?
"Sure,
Who knows? Gabe's getting kind of old, right?
sure, yeah,
And from what I've been told, I mean, don't quote me on any of this stuff because I'm not a lawyer and I don't
mhm,
know all of these laws and stuff like that. But I have been told or have been hinted towards that, hey, Valve's a private company. And if
yeah,
they were to be purchased, they wouldn't have to deal with the whole FTC
yes,
and all that stuff. So, me hearing that, not knowing it, me hearing that, I'm thinking, well, what's Microsoft waiting on?
yeah."
Because
I
like,
think
because in my opinion, it kind of goes hand in hand with their idea of what they want to do in gaming. And like I just got done saying, I, I don't know how much Gabe wants to be around or how much he wants to just like hand over his brand to somebody else to continue to work. I'd like personally, like if I was Gabe in his shoes, at some point I'd want to cash out.
for sure, yeah,
Like at some point I'd want to cash out and have like I don't know if he has kids or not, but I do. And I'd
yeah,
want to be able to have a foundation for my kids for the next several centuries, possibly.
yeah, generations,
Exactly. So, and if I could sell this and get like even a billion off of
yeah,
this to walk away from all on my own, then see you later. You know what I'm saying? I got my fucking own island out here. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my own fucking gas station and shit.
sure. Uh, John Freeman in the chat asks if we're going to play the new Assassin's Creed. Just really quick, yeah, I'm gonna play that. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna buy that or if I'm gonna just play it in Ubisoft. It really seems like Ubisoft wants you to play it in Ubisoft. It
Yeah, they
seems
don't
like
want
they're
you to
real,
own shit.
yeah, they're really itching to get you into that Ubisoft subscription. So I might just do it there. But yes, I will absolutely be playing it for
I'm
sure.
not sure if I'm gonna be playing it. I'm not and it has nothing to do with this stupid Twitter fucking social media bullshit. It's just I'm
Mhm.
not really an Assassin's Creed person, and
Sure,
the one I put probably the most time into was Odyssey and
God,
the
Odyssey.
original Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed. Like I put the most time into those two games, and I also own some other Assassin's Creed games too. So it's not like I didn't try to get into it. It just never really gelled with me.
I
And it's
get
the
that.
same it's the same with like Watch Dogs. Like that game, like there's like what 3 or 4 different Watch Dog games, and I've never completed one of them because they just never gelled with me. And I have like 2 or 3 of their games. I think I have 3 of their of Watch Dogs games.
And that's all of them. It's Watch Dogs 2. It's Watch Dogs, Watch Dogs 2, and then Watch Dogs Legion.
Well, yeah, and I'm not even counting from like me sharing a library with you. I'm talking about just me. Like
Stuff you bought,
I
yeah.
know for sure I have Watch Dogs 1, and I know for sure that I have Watch Dogs the third one, but I'm not sure if
Legion.
I have Watch
Yeah.
Dogs 2.
Yeah. Watch Dogs 1 was just phenomenal. And I played it really late, and then I was excited for Watch Dogs 2, and I played it, and I was just like, and apparently that's the one that's everyone's favorite. And I played it,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is not hitting like the first one for me. And Watch Dogs Legion was way worse. It was
Watch Dogs
just not.
Legion was just it had like it felt like it had no direction and it just had a bunch of just random missions.
That's pretty much what it was. It was the Watch Dogs Legion felt like, hey, here's kind of a showcase for the new consoles.
Pretty much,
Uh,
yeah.
it didn't feel like there's much substance there at all. Uh, but yeah, I mean, oh, Vort also asked, have you guys heard about the new Valve game? It's like apparently like a hero shooter. or something. Supposed to be kind of like Overwatch, from what I understand. I think it like leaked gameplay of it in the last couple of days. But yeah, I do know they're working on a new game.
It
Finally.
doesn't sound like something I'll be interested in, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it. I think it's cool to see Valve making another game.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I'm not
but
gonna play
see,
this.
my problem is like they're making a game to like get into like the whole like battle pass thing. They're not making a game because they like want to make games.
Yeah, because they have a wicked idea for a game.
Right. Yeah. So like to me, I'm just like I see people excited about it, but I just can't get myself excited about it.
Yeah. John Freeman asks, how do you feel about the Fallout 4 update now that it's been out for a while? Dude, let me tell you. Ham knows. I mean, up until Hellblade yesterday and XDefiant yesterday, I've been playing nothing but Fallout 4 after that update. And
What level are you
I,
now from the start over?
49. I think I hit 50 last night. I played a little bit. I hit 50.
I just hit like 40.
Yeah. I hit 50. And then I also have the other character that I started for stream, which I haven't been streaming Fallout 4. Need to get back onto that, but I've been playing a ton of Fallout 4.
Me too.
And I'll tell you, people have mixed opinions on that update, and I know like some of it's valid because it broke a lot of mods. It broke
Oh
like
yeah,
all
that's
the
terrible.
mods. And I get that. People, that sucks, especially if your game was heavily modded. But like for me, I couldn't play that game on my Series S before. It just froze. It crashed, froze. You literally couldn't play it. It was a known problem. After the update, I can play it at 60 FPS, no issues whatsoever. It's crashed maybe once, and like I don't know how long has the update been out? Like a month at this point. It's crashed maybe
about a month.
once. So like it's perfect. Honestly, I love it. I love it. But what are your thoughts on the Fallout update? You've been playing Fallout 4 a little
Oh
bit.
man, I mean, I love it. I'm really happy with it. Especially since like I was kind of a Fallout 4 adopter late, so I got to kind of see. I got to see what it was like when it first came out because I was there, but I wasn't really I didn't really understand how to play Bethesda games very well, so I kind of dropped it. But then when I came back, um, that's where I say I was kind of a late adopter because when I came back and I was like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. And I enjoyed what I was doing, but then the update came out and like it looked better than it did before, right? Just flat out. And that's all I really wanted out of that game was just to look better and it to run 60 without the compatibility thing. Right? And then also the only thing that this update missed for me is being able to play it on PC and have the same save on Xbox.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
That was like the only thing that this update missed for me. Everything else was like pretty good. And I know a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, like there wasn't any like it was just running on performance or like I don't know. I forget what people were complaining about. I was happy that like I had my performance mode and like that's really it.
Yeah, no, all those complaints, or at least those specific complaints about the whole performance mode not really working, or quality mode not really, whichever one it was. Apparently, those got fixed. They patched it again. Now you actually do have the 30, 40, and 60 FPS options, and you can choose either of those options in performance or visuals mode. So
Yeah, I don't
basically,
play it on PC, so like I hear that
yeah.
they really messed that one up, and my wife
Mhm.
was even playing some Fallout 4 on PC, and she was complaining. There was some moments where she would literally get stuck and like couldn't
Oh,
move or anything at all. And like I sat and I didn't believe her. I thought maybe she was like encumbered and like ran out of stamina and was just kept trying to walk and couldn't. And then I come to find out, yeah, my wife isn't dumb. No shit. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, you are literally like stuck to the point where like you cannot move or do anything. And then we figured out how to make it not happen, but it was just kind of bullshit that you had to even deal with it.
Yeah, it busted the game pretty hard on Steam. It improved it on consoles outside of the mods aspect, but it busted it heavy on Steam.
Yeah, I'm mad
So
vanilla too, so like the mods didn't matter to me.
Same.
I'm mad vanilla when it comes to those games. Like mod, for me to play a game with mods on it, I probably have to like have at least like 50 days into it.
Sure. Like I
Like I have to
tried.
be like, I feel like I've done everything kind of thing. And then like, all right, well, let's throw some mods in and whatnot. Like that's what I did with Ark. Like I probably didn't play a modded version of Ark until like I was at like 50, 60, 70 days of that game.
Yeah. I just like I've tried mods in all the Bethesda games, all the ones that I've played, and it's like they're really cool. Some like visual overhauls and stuff, especially on PC that you can do, are just nuts. But like I much prefer vanilla, like Fallout, Skyrim, Oblivion, New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, like whichever. I much prefer the vanilla game, quite frankly. John Freeman asked another question: do you guys have faith in Bethesda for the next Fallout, or should Obsidian take over? I have full faith in Bethesda for the next Fallout. I don't think they're going to be making it anytime soon. They got their hands busy with Elder Scrolls 6. I think Obsidian. Here's the thing: I don't think Obsidian's going to make the next Fallout. I also don't think Bethesda is going to make the next Fallout. I think of the studios that Microsoft has for the next Fallout, I think the choice is pretty clear to me personally. It should be an Exile. It should be an Exile because an Exile has Clockwork, and then who knows? Maybe they have another project we don't know about yet. But the thing we know about is Clockwork. For Obsidian, we know about Avowed. They just did their whole Grounded 1.0 release, so they're finally officially done full steaming on that. So they got Avowed, and then you also got Outer Worlds 2 coming up. And then for Bethesda, you got Elder Scrolls 6, and that's just one game, but realistically, I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is one game to like another studio's 2 games. Like the development timeline on that is going to be fucking nuts. But I don't think we're going to see Elder Scrolls 6 until probably 2027, maybe 2028. So like, you got getting to that point, and then you got to start a whole new Fallout. I don't think Xbox wants that to happen. I think at the very least, we'll see either remasters or remakes of previous Fallouts before then. But I just, for whatever reason, I don't feel like it's going to be Bethesda or Obsidian on the next Fallout. But we will see. John Freeman says Exile Entertainment, Xbox owned studio. I think they got them back in like
land and whatnot.
Yeah, I think they got them back in like 2019 or 20. I think it was 19. It was at the XO 19, I believe. They announced their acquisition of an Exile. So yeah, I think they would be a pretty good fit. Plus, it is all industry, like it's all people who worked on the original Fallout. Like it's the veterans there worked on the original Fallouts. So I think it would make a lot of sense also for that reason. But we'll see what happens. I do think they need a Fallout game out, and I do think Microsoft knows that though, for sure. They need a Fallout game. So we'll see what happens with that. But I did have here on the topics. I don't know if you want to get into it real quick before we get out of here, but like IGN acquiring Eurogame, just acquiring a bunch of whole different.
I don't want to hear IGN talk about acquisitions ever again. I'm absolutely ignoring like their like points of view. Like if they want to talk about somebody having an acquisition and just that is the news, like sure, I'll talk about what they write. But if they're gonna talk about their opinion based on an acquisition, fuck you. Like I'm not listening
Yeah.
to it. You just bought like a ton of the journalism industry in just one fell swoop. So like I don't want to hear nothing about Valve. I don't want to hear nothing about Activision. I don't want to hear nothing about Sony and their idea for Paramount or any of that stuff, even though I know that's off the table now. Like I don't want to hear nothing about their opinion on an acquisition, seeing that they had no problem acquiring a bunch of people and firing them goddamn selves.
Yeah. Acquiring, like, basically monopolizing game journalism. So, I mean, sort of like, out of all the, like, obviously there's tons of outlets, tons of game journalism
Sure.
outlets. But what are the big ones that you like people go you got IGN, Eurogamers here, gamesindustry.biz, VG247. Like those are like people go to those often. Like very often. They own Digital Foundry now.
Yeah. That's part of Eurogamer.
I like it's nuts, and they also acquire Hookshot, which operates Nintendo Life, Push Square, which is a big PlayStation
They got Push
outlet.
Square too.
Push Square, Pure
Oh
Xbox. They got Pure Xbox, and then they got one called Time Extension. I've not heard of Time Extension, but I have heard of Push Square and I've heard of Pure Xbox.
Yeah, same.
I know that. So they got a lot of shit with that, and I'll tell you what.
Jesus.
Listen, I already didn't like IGN. I already like as much as IGN likes to do the whole thing. Hey, we're not biased. Come on, guy. You're obviously biased. Yeah, it happens. It is what it is. But like now you own Digital Foundry. Those comparisons are going to be pretty fun. I think those comparisons are going to be pretty fun.
And see, I don't think like Richard Ledbetter or like John Linneman and all those guys are going to be like, oh, well, now our scripts are completely changed. Like, I don't think that. But if you're asking, like, but I just feel like the legitimacy, like it's kind of like the same way people feel like when they say, oh, this person's great, they're awesome. Oh, you're a Republican. Oh, you suck now.
John Lennon, yeah. But
John Linneman, not Len.
John Lennon's back to benchmark video games.
I know, right? He came back from getting killed by his woman just to talk about some games.
Just to benchmark games. He has a whole YouTube channel. It's pretty great.
No, you see what I'm saying though? Like everybody loves somebody until they find out, oh yeah, you've been rocking with Trump. Oh, you one of Diddy's friends. Oh, you ain't cool now. Well, you see what I'm saying? Like it's that's kind of the way I look at it. It's just like you're putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna be and I mean I don't blame Digital Foundry because you get shown like money, like or like Eurogamer, you probably get showed a crazy amount of money. It's like
you gotta take
it. Like integrity is out the window for a lot of these motherfuckers when it comes with money, and I don't really blame them because it's just like video games family. Which one do I care about more? I'll piss off a few gamers to protect my family. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? I think, I mean, I agree with you in the sense I don't think that they're gonna just tell the whole cast of Digital Foundry like, hey, you got to say these things. I just think it puts them in a situation where it's like whenever there's something that's a little bit more favorable for IGN's agenda, I feel like IGN's going to be like, hey, we're going to push that just a little bit more. And then whenever something's not very favorable, they're going to be like, we didn't see that. And it's just
that
like
was an accident. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's there. You can find it if you really want to look for it, but we're not gonna get that to you, kind of thing. But it is what it is. IGN is out here acquiring a lot of games journalism, so we'll see how it all plays out. I don't have a lot of optimism for it, but only time will tell. But that was the end of our topics, and we actually went longer
Good,
than I
'cause I'm
expected.
hungry as shit.
Same, dude. I gotta eat something, man. We gotta get up out of here. Ham, start us off. Outros. Let them know where they can find you, what you're up to this week, and what's going down.
Yeah, I see a few of you guys I haven't seen before on my channel. So if you have a moment, in the description below, hit TSWS Gaming, go hit the subscribe button. I got Matt on my show every Fridays, spitting what he knows about the topics that we have on Bullsitting. But if you enjoyed what I had to say at all, you can follow me over there for that reason as well. TSWS Gaming is where I do all of my stuff, and that is here on YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter. We throw our shows on the actual Twitter page as well, in case you don't happen to be on YouTube at the moment. You can check us out on Twitter as well. You'll see the same content over there. But I highly recommend. I think it's best to follow us on Twitter. That's where we feel the most supported. So definitely check us out over there. I got a Behind Them Sticks episode that I'm supposed to be doing with one of the PR managers for Dune, the new game that's going to be coming out here soon this Thursday. I just have to double check that we're all good and everything. So I mean, I don't know quite yet, but I'm anticipating having that show tomorrow with Tomek. That's what he goes by on Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure it's like Tomas or something, but I don't know. But really cool dude that I met at PAX East, and he agreed to be on the interview. So hopefully I can get that taken care of tomorrow. I'm definitely gonna have to touch base with him to make sure that's all good to go.
For sure. Well, I mean, hopefully, man. Looking forward to it. As for myself, you can find me here, obviously, every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, for the Two Player Podcast with myself and Ham Solo right here. And then Mondays and Fridays are new videos here on the channel. And then on Fridays, like Ham mentioned, I am on his channel with him, Loke, Cozy, Mental, and myself for Bullsitting. That is at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. And then you can find me on Twitter at MattLikesGames. And that's where you can find me. That's where you can find Ham. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate you for listening, and we will see you next week. Peace.